Hello everyone. So just wanted to give people a little bit of an update on my bot trading. So the first thing I want to do real quickly is just come and look at my live trading bot. So again, this one is fully automatic. It opens and closes positions. I don't touch it at all. These are live positions. And you know, it chops sideways here quite a bit. Recently broke out to a new high. I'm trading all of these live but very small. And again, this one's decent return, but it's been trading for a long time. I'll show you a couple here that have, in my opinion, kind of really been tearing it up. This one, same thing. It's trading live. It does all the trading. It's trading very slowly. This only opens one trade a month. But again, and also trading very small, but it's been cranking along just fine. I'll circle back to this one in just a moment, but this one, the 0DTE, so this is a bot that I had traded in paper for almost a year. I mean, probably over 1,000 trades, because it makes multiple trades a day in some cases. And it did very well in that historical mode, so I decided to take it live here only a couple of weeks ago. I think it's been trading about 2 weeks now. Again, it's trading the smallest size it can trade, but it's chunking along pretty darn nicely. Again, I don't look at this at all. I don't even have to have my computer on for this. This is the P&L curve of this so far. These are the stats. It only trades SPY at this point. But here's all the, the profit factor, the Sharpe ratio, the win rate, average wins, average losses, etc. So again, I like the way this is starting off, and it is one that I'll continue to let trade. And then the earnings trade, I kind of gave up on that. If you're not familiar with it, go back and look at my prior video where I talked about this. I came in and I hand selected a bunch of earnings trades that I thought were kind of the best possible earnings trades I could put on around different high IV stocks going into earnings with tight bid-ask spreads, and I just got pummeled in that. They just kind of tore me up. There were a few winners in there, but it kind of, I never have really liked condors or butterflies for earnings. It seems like although you're getting a lot of extra juice to make those trades then, more often than not, it seems like, your Amazons, your PayPals, your Shopifys, etc., oftentimes will blow right out of even those wider tents. And of course, with an earnings trade, since you're usually trading it so close to expiration, because that's where you get the extra juice, there's just no real way to adjust them after those earnings are announced in most cases. So you kind of live and die by the trade you put on. So at the end of the day, I won't be trading in the future. I won't be trading iron condors or iron butterflies personally around earnings. I do trade calendars around earnings, but I have to do those manually because we can't yet trade calendars in this platform. Now, this is kind of my shining star right now, and I call it my hand crank bot trading. And what I mean by that is I come in and I hand select the trades I want to get into. I am not making earnings trades here. I'm looking at trades that have what I consider to be good risk-reward profiles. And this is actually done quite well. I currently have 6 positions open in this. Again, these are all traded very small, less than $200 to maybe a max of $500 in risk. And the results have been pretty stable in this as well. Now, we can come in, we can look at the analyzed results. This is the P&L diagram of the closed positions. And then, of course, I have, I don't know, a couple hundred, maybe $300-400 in open positions right now as well. This will show me, the different symbols I've traded and how those different symbols have fared. So all good information to have. Now, how I get these positions. So I'm going to open a new one here now and just thought I would share this with you. So I come into trade ideas. This is something new that they've added to the platform since I departed from OptionAlpha, November of 2022. And again, this is a great team of people, great product. Even though I'm not employed by them anymore, I love the product, especially stuff like this that they have added. So I can now come in and the platform is looking at all the different potential trades out there in about the 300 to 400 most liquid symbols. You know, your XRTs, your SPY, your Krogers, etc. And then I can slice and dice all of these opportunities in a lot of different ways. So a couple of the standard things that I like to do personally, in this case, I know I don't want anything that's going to report earnings in the next 5 days because I just haven't liked doing those earnings trades. So I know I want to exclude those. I'm actually going to do something that expires yet this week. So I'm going to make my days to expiration here. I'm going to say, you know what, I want less than 4 days to expiration. So that narrows it down. Obviously, we're only 3 days from Friday, so these are actually going to be 3 days. Now, another thing that I kind of like to do, I like a good reward to risk ratio. In other words, I want the chance of my trade returning more than the amount of risk I'm going to take on the trade. So I want it to be 100% or higher. So now I can look at things like, well, the max profit in this particular trade is $67 with a max loss of 33. There's a 59% probability of profit in this trade. So I also like that. Alpha is a proprietary ranking that that the OptionAlpha team has put together, and they explain that to you here. Also, expected value. Expected value, this is something new that they just added. It's pretty cool. So with expected value, basically it calculates if you made this exact trade, you know, hundreds and hundreds of times, what would the expected outcome be? Of course, you want a positive expected value in a trade. So we want to make sure, I mean, usually I like to have that, but I think most, since I've put the other two filters in there, I think this is pretty much always going to show a positive expected value with those other things I put in there. And then this one, they just added open interest. So in other words, I can now narrow down that I only want trades that have a lot of open interest. Now, I haven't used this yet myself, but open interest is how many people are waiting to make trades at the various strikes of each of these. And you want higher open interest because that's going to create a tighter bid-ask spread, which becomes really, really critical when you're trying to get in and or out of some of these positions. So after I narrow all of that down, this is kind of what I come up with. And again, what I'll just kind of take a look through these different positions. You noticed a minute ago we had one here from Best Buy. In fact, if I can undo that, let's just undo that. Yeah, see, you had like this Best Buy ironcondor. Let's just see what that looked like though. See, that's a fairly wide bid-ask spread, which tells me that it probably doesn't have much in the way of open interest. And while I wouldn't totally rule out making a trade like this, I'd want to be really careful about how I entered this position. Because again, I mean, that bid-ask spread there is really wide compared to the price or the amount of profit that I'm looking to get. I mean, you're what, almost 20 cents difference there. So, you know, a lot of your potential profitability can be eaten up if you have to span that spread in order to exit your trade. I would never span that spread to get into a trade. I'll just pass on the trade if I can't get a good fill. But just to kind of give you an idea, again, that one was here until we put in that open interest filter, and then it wasn't there anymore. But I'll leave the open interest filter off for just a second, kind of take a look down through these, see if I see anything that sort of piques my interest here. Oh, this one looks really interesting. Marvell, $29 max risk, $71 max profit. Something doesn't quite smell right here. And what I mean by that is, I think if I open this trade and look at it, I'm going to see either a very wide bid-ask spread, bid-ask spread is not too wide, or it's going to be hammering right against one of the strikes. No, it's not. I was thinking it might be, where our short call was 60, this might have been trading at 60 and a quarter or something like that. This is, I don't know, this is a little bit of an anomaly to me. I'm not sure why it would have that good of a reward to risk ratio, that tight of a spread, and that nice of a reward to risk ratio. So I'm going to make a trade here. And again, I tend to have $200-300 in risk on these. So I will go ahead, and the mid is 69. I'm willing to go a little below the mid, but I really don't want to go much below the mid to get into this. And I want to, I'm going to put smart pricing as fast. Normally I would do patient, meaning it's going to take some time at each one of the prices it tries, which is usually what I do to get in. But because I'm recording this video and I want to share it with people, I'm going to go ahead and just set it up to work a little bit faster. On this particular trade, a matter of a penny or two is not going to make a big difference. So while I make all the decisions on what trade I want to get into here, I'm getting into this trade, I'm dumping it into my hand crank bot to manage, and then I'm going to give it specific exit parameters to where I'm going to look to hit a 35% profit target. After I hit a 35% profit target, it's going to start monitoring a trailing stop. Now, I could set this up that the second it hits that target, just get me out. Like this one is set at a 50% profit. In other words, if this trade were to get to 50% profit, it's going to fire out an order, close the trade. But I like to trail a stop. In other words, I like to get to a profit target, and I set it at a more realistic profit target, in this case 35%. Once it hits that, if the underlying shifts in price or the options waver in price to where all of a sudden it's dropped in value by 5%, my spread, or in this case my ironcondor, it'll go ahead and get me out. So I'll probably get out then at maybe about a 30% profit, maybe a little less if there's some slippage. But if it stays within some parameters, it might go to 40%, 45%, 50%, 60%, and it might get, up to 70, 75, 80%, and it still hasn't wavered more than 5%. I think I shared one in here a week or so ago that it had gotten up to about 75%, then finally had a 5% pullback, and it took me out at that point with about a 70% profit, where under normal circumstances, if I was trading the way that I kind of manually trade without a bot, and by the way, this is watching every 1 minute, it's watching these prices. So without a bot watching for every 1 minute, and I'm trying to do this manually, that wouldn't happen. So the key in my mind to bots, it's great if I've got a bot that does full-on entry, full-on exit for me, but I'm really liking this aspect where I can handpick my trades with the profiles that I like. Then I can select a way to manage this trade, hit place trade. Instant fill. So I got instantly filled at 69 cents. So there is my trade. That's my entry. And now I don't have to look at this. I don't have to pay any attention at all to this. And then every 1 minute, this is going to go out. It's going to take a look. It's going to see, has Steve reached his 35% profit yet? If I haven't, it's not doing anything. Now, I could have put in stop losses. I don't happen to trade options with stop losses. I think that's a sucker's move if you're doing spreads. You just need to size your spreads at a comfort level that you can handle a full loss if you had to take it. Of course, nobody wants to take that. But particularly unless you're trading something very, very highly liquid, if a stop hits and then you go out at essentially a market order, when you've got a bid-ask spread on some of these that might be a nickel, 25 cents, 50 cents, $1 wide, when that stop loss hits and an order goes out, it's usually a market order, and you are just getting taken advantage of heavily in that environment in most cases. So rather, everyone should trade safely. Everyone should trade money that, while you don't want to lose it, you could lose it if you had to. It's a cost of doing business. And set your trades up in that manner, and don't try to do stop losses. Now, if you're trading stock, it's a different story, because stocks usually have very tight bid-ask spreads, and if you go out at a market order on a stock, it's not a big deal. But again, when you're trading options, and particularly multi-leg options, those bid-ask spreads can get very, very wide, and again, a stop loss in that environment will not be a good thing for you. But anyhow, the point I was trying to make here is this bot is now watching every 1 minute, and you can see that it's waiting to activate when it hits its 35% stop. Let me show you an example. I think I've got an example here of one that maybe recently filled, or maybe it's currently open. So we look at my positions here. Well, now we have that new position right here. And I don't think any one of these yet is quite at that profit target level. Maybe this one might be. Nope. So this one's at 18% right now, hasn't hit the 35% target. But I'll come down to some of the closed positions here. I'm guessing maybe one or two of these closed positions might have hit a target. Yeah, so here's a good example. So I was shooting for a 35% target. The target was finally hit. And then I think this ended up closing on a gap. I don't know if it was a gap up or gap down, but the trail, while I had a 5% trail on it, the trail was triggered at 7%, and I was taken out. And when I got out, it was at a 39% or so, or actually 32% profit. So this one actually ended up being slightly less. But again, some of these have climbed all the way up to 75, 80%, and then I got a little 5% pullback. So I more than doubled what my expectation was on the trade. So anyhow, that's kind of how these are all the closed trades with this particular bot. And hopefully that gives people kind of a good idea of how you can blend total bot trading, where the bot's doing everything for you. In this case, the bot is opening the trades, it's closing the trades. I don't have to have my computer on. I don't even have to look at this thing. I'm going to be gone on a motorcycle trip for the next couple of weeks in Scotland, and this thing's going to be trading away for me. So I'll look at it maybe every few days, but that's going to be about the extent of it. So anyhow, just wanted to share this with everyone. Again, give them a better idea of what bot trading is all about. If you want to take a look at this platform, check it out for yourself. I'm going to put a link down below where you can get a free 30 days. And the other thing that I should mention, one of the coolest things about this is the community. If you come into the community, which is thousands and thousands of traders, you can specifically come over here to bot templates. And here are the top bot templates. In fact, this one right here, it may not be the exact one, but I think it's a close sister to the one that I am trading, the 0DTE bot that I am trading. But here's a whole bunch of information about this bot, how the person wrote it, what their premise is behind it, etc. This has been cloned 4,200 times. Different traders have come in and put this bot into their account. Now, if you read about this and you look at it and you're like, you know what, I like what this thing's doing, you can simply hit clone and drop it into your account. It's that simple. And then start at paper trading. Always, always, always paper trading first, and see how it does over a period of time. And if you like what it does, you can also come in and modify or adjust almost any of the different settings in there to fit maybe a different concept or idea that you might have. So again, these are all the different bot templates. Some of these actually I wrote back when I was at OptionAlpha. Many of them Kirk wrote. In fact, this one right here I think is one that I had written for OptionAlpha. Kirk has written a number of them. This Hexabot, you can see Kirk wrote one right here. Kirk is the founder of the company. And if you want to see all the bots that Kirk wrote, all you have to do is click right there in Kirk's name, and you'll see all all the posts that Kirk has made and all the different bots that he has shared. This little indicator right here is a bot or a some sort of a trading methodology or a trading plan, if you will. So again, hopefully, I know this got a little long-winded here, but hopefully this is some good information for people. And if it even remotely piques your interest, again, use the link down below. And also, of course, like and subscribe. Let me know if you like this type of content. Thank you so much.